Hey everyone. First, I just want to start out by saying great end to the season. I think, given the circumstances of, being paired up with one of the best teams in the league in the nation, in terms of club basketball, we held our own. And I think, just like Drexel club basketball has been on the rise for the past couple of years, I think it's going to continue into something even greater. Before I get into my presentation, I want to thank Dan for a great couple of years of being president. I think you've changed the culture here. I know I've only been here for 1 year, but just from hearing around, I know that you've done tremendous work for this program, and each and every one of us appreciates that. Next, I want to just thank Johnny real quick. It's going to be tough for both of us being really good friends, running against each other. So want to wish him good luck, and definitely want you guys to hear him out too, as well as mine, and vote how you please. So kind of getting into things, I want to get into my basketball resume. I'll go, I guess, from right to left on the slides. So I grew up playing AAU basketball. I actually started playing basketball in second grade. Wasn't for the town or anything. It was actually AAU. I started with AAU and played for a ton of teams. The most notable ones, I played in the Adidas 3SSB circuit for some sneaker teams. Team New England was in the silver circuit, and the Mass Rivals were also in the circuit. I also played in the Hoop Group Platinum circuit for the Massachusetts Commanders, and we won the whole entire thing in 2022, and I was a part of that team. In terms of high school, I went to Acton Boxborough Regional High School. I was a varsity basketball player for 4+ years. I was team captain in 2022, also student athlete of the year, as well as a league all-star. I then did a fifth year of high school at the Pomfret School in Connecticut. While we didn't have a very good season, I was recruited to play basketball at Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, New York, which is at the Division III level. After spending 1 year and realizing that wasn't a fit, transferred here to Drexel, where I've only been here for around a year now. Men's team practice player for the Division I team. Did that for about a month and realized it was a little bit too much of a commitment for me. And so I transitioned to the women's team, where I've been a practice player since December. I don't want to make this too long, so I'll get through these slides as quickly as I can. I want to point out again that Drexel Club basketball is on the rise. Some highlights from this year, we were a nationally ranked program. I believe it's our first time traveling for the playoffs, and we had a full roster with practice players, with the exception of a couple few. I feel like a lot of our practices this year were pretty solid, and we had, the numbers, the coaching, etc. I always like to look at other people for examples and try to copy them, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And so the two programs that I want to focus on, and maybe three now that I've seen JMU, are just two that I'm really familiar with. One is Northeastern University's club basketball program. They have a really solid program, and they take it very seriously over there. And not that I want to necessarily be on that level of seriousness, but I think if we aim there and miss, I think we're just gonna wind up a more solidified program. The other one is my sister actually plays BC club soccer at Boston College. They have a lot of nice things, and the reason I put them in there is because I was talking to her as well as some of her friends on the team, and they're doing a really good job at fundraising and getting money from the school. And I think that those are just some things that I feel like we should utilize, and if we shoot for that and miss, we're just gonna get better regardless. The things that other programs do that we might not do yet, but I think we could do them. Fundraising events, push for more funding from the university. I talked to J-Law a little bit about that. It might be harder than it looks, but I still think, why not try? I'm always someone who likes to be in somebody's ear. Media days, I think a serious program needs a little bit of a following and needs to look legit. And I think a media day, not only to get Seth, our new graphic designer and social media runner, some things to use for his posts, but also just assets to build a following. The next one is expanded game schedule and trips. I'll get into this more later, but I do think we could utilize maybe one or two of the weekends that we had off and fill it with either a game, or team events, etc. There were a couple times where there was like a 3-week span where we didn't play a game, and maybe squeeze in one game or one or two games in the middle of that. Regardless if it counts or not, would be good. Pictures and videos, J-Law specifically set a good tone with the JMU team of, we had a scouting report. And I think, part of the reason of that was because we had film. And I think if we start filming now, we'll be able to create scouting reports for years to come. Team events to build chemistry. I'll get into that later. It's pretty self-explanatory. Live streams. I know a lot of us are from different places. I think Drexel is good at bringing in a lot of people from a lot of places. Having live streams for parents and other things would be really important. I think, live stream to YouTube and have people, for example, my parents and grandparents, Boston and New Jersey, I want them to be able to tune in for some of the games. And I bet a lot of other people would benefit from that too. In order to accomplish these things, obviously we're going to need additional funding, and I kind of went into it earlier. And I know it doesn't sound great, but hear me out. So our current dues situation, we're already having trouble paying them. But I think in future years we should take this a little bit more seriously. The current fee is $75 per person. And I think if we increase the dues by a small amount, and, if I were to be elected president, I would go over this with not only, the vice, treasurer, et cetera, but I'd go over it with the whole team to make sure everybody would be able to afford it. But I think by raising it a small amount, we'd be able to do some of those things that I mentioned in the previous slide. And then fundraising. I think not only would it build team chemistry to do like a fundraising event as a team, but I also think like it would raise money for the program, and we could get more stuff that, whether that's, everybody's going to get a shooting shirt, or, somebody mentioned shoes the other day. Okay, so this is where I'm getting to just the future, I think, of club basketball at Drexel. So I want to do an in-season tournament. And so my annual preseason tournament proposal is for there to be a yearly tournament with these 4 schools: Drexel, Penn, Villanova, and Millersville. But pretty much what I want to do is schedule the event over one weekend. It's, tournament-style bracket, and then the championship game of that is held in the main gym. And I think if the school is allowing the intramural championships to be in that gym, I think the in-season tournament can be in that gym for one game, and it's the championship game kind of thing. I got this idea from this thing that I did in high school. At private school, we had kind of the same thing, but between 2 schools, where 2 schools kind of battled for this trophy, and then the winning school had to host the event next year. And I just think that would be a cool little thing to try to work out with these guys is, hey, like, let's say we win it next year, we'd host it again. But if Villanova won it, then Villanova would host it, kind of thing. I'd want to actually make a trophy and make something to fight for. And maybe we can get funding from, I've already talked to the Penn guys about this, and they're totally down. But maybe we can all chip in on a trophy between the 4 programs and have the trophy be like engraved and stuff. I think that would be pretty cool. The thing I want to go over is team events. We saw how beneficial the JMU trip was in terms of team chemistry. Having more events earlier in the season would be super beneficial, especially when we're going to be having more and more new guys on the team, potentially. Leveraging media programs. So I actually am thinking about minoring in something in Westfall, which is the arts building here. And so I actually have some connections with teachers in both the photography and the film and television sectors of Drexel. And so what I was thinking is, like, I can talk to those teachers and say, hey, to help club basketball, would you mind like making an extra credit assignment where, hey, one of your students can come to the game, take the video, take photos, and then give them to us in exchange for their extra credit. And I think that I think me, especially by having those teachers and having those personal connections with them, I would be able to make something like that happen. Increased travel opportunities. I don't know. I know we just went to James Madison, which was in Virginia, which was super, super fun. But, and I hate to rub it in, but look how fun Erie looks, and look how fun South Bend looks. Like, these are just some of the places that we would be able to go to. And I have a lot of connections with teams in the Northeast, and I think a trip to Boston or a trip to New Hampshire or something like that would be totally doable, especially because I know kids, who play for Fairfield University, I know the president of BC Club Basketball, I know the president of Fairfield Club Basketball, that kind of thing. So yeah, thank you. That's kind of the gist of the things that I want to do with this program. I love all you guys, and I think regardless of who you pick, me or Johnny, I think the program's going to go in the right direction. But yeah, I'd love to be the guy to do the job, and I'd get it done. So yeah, thank you.